I am lost. I feel empty.
Meri Brown from Sister Wives recently broke up with her new boyfriend, but what went wrong between them? Why can't Meri find love? And why do things keep going wrong for her? Between her marriage to Kody, her catfishing scandal, and her recent breakup, it's safe to say that Meri hasn't exactly been lucky in love. When she first announced that she was in a relationship earlier this year, a lot of people were genuinely happy for her. She and Amos seemed like a really good match, but then some pretty crazy things came out about him. We found out that he'd been married several times and he also had some financial problems. Immediately, it seemed like everyone turned against him. And then, after just a couple of months of dating, Meri announced on February 23rd that she and Amos were over. She said that Amos was a good person, but she added that they just weren't each other's long-term person. That's pretty interesting because if this wasn't meant to be a long-term thing, then why even announce the relationship in the first place? Well, there might actually be a reason for that. After Meri announced the breakup, a source spoke to the US Sun and they shared some pretty interesting details about what happened with Meri and Amos. The source said that Meri definitely learned a big lesson. Apparently, she might even have a couple of regrets. The insider claimed that Meri fell hard and she fell fast, and this is what made her hard launch the relationship way too soon. The source said that she really should have waited for the relationship to become more serious, but she was excited and couldn't wait to tell everyone about her new man. Unfortunately, this ended up not working out for her. It's possible that Amos got scared off by all the public scrutiny he was facing. He did say he was a pretty private and shy person, so maybe this whole thing just wasn't for him. And since he and Meri seemingly weren't that serious yet, well, it makes sense why the relationship ended as quickly as it did. That being said, you have to wonder, is this one of the reasons why Meri just can't seem to find love? Does she just jump into things too quickly? It seems like the problem could be that she always goes all in too fast without thinking about it very carefully. The truth is that she doesn't have a lot of dating experience at all, so she might still be a little naive when it comes to dating, and this might be hurting her in the long run. Then again, this is just a theory. Maybe she just had really terrible luck and she just needs to meet the right person for things to work out. But there's another thing she might need to address first, and that's the fact that she seems to have an issue identifying red flags in her partners. Obviously, her and Kody's relationship was toxic for a very long time, but it took her ages to actually leave him. This might be because she was raised a certain way and she didn't really want to divorce Kody, but honestly, their relationship was pretty much non-existent for years, so the fact that she still stayed with him despite that is pretty crazy. She just seemed to be in denial for the longest time, even though deep down she must have known it was over. Then there's also the whole catfishing thing. Obviously, that must have been really hard for her too. She was a victim of this woman who pretended to be her ideal man. This woman manipulated Meri, so you can't exactly blame her for what happened there, but it's just another example of Meri not being very good at spotting red flags. And it's the same story with her most recent relationship with Amos. The US Sun insiders talked a little bit about some of the problems the couple faced. Allegedly, Meri eventually realized that Amos's financial issues were something she should take seriously. She figured out that it could be a problem down the road. The source said basically everything had gone wrong. Meri wanted someone who could support her and her goals and help her become successful, but instead she was with Amos, who supposedly didn't even have a stable job. But there's more, because as I mentioned earlier, it wasn't just the money that was the issue. He also had a pretty crazy relationship history, including a really nasty second divorce. The source said it was just too many red flags and it became overwhelming. That's completely fair, but you have to wonder, why didn't Meri see any of this earlier? To be fair to her, they had only been seeing each other for a few months when she went public with their relationship. So maybe she just didn't know him that well, or maybe he lied to her and didn't tell her everything. And once the public found out about him, they did their own research. They discovered some pretty crazy things about him, which is how Meri learned about them too. If that's what happened, then again, you can't really blame Meri for that. It's possible that she was being being manipulated. She just seems to keep running into people who want to use her. I'm not saying that's definitely what happened with Amos, but it does seem like a possible explanation for what went wrong. Although who knows, there might be a lot we don't know about the situation. Maybe Amos actually did nothing wrong. All we really have are theories and speculations. That being said, Meri herself wrote a statement about the breakup too. She shared it on her Instagram and she gave her own perspective on what went wrong. She wrote, "Last week I had to face some hard truths and have some difficult conversations." It's interesting that she said the thing about hard truths. Maybe she really was blinded by the relationship and she just ignored all the red flags because she didn't want to lose Amos and be single again. Meri continued, "When we have different dreams and aspirations, different communication styles and values, different visions for our futures, and these things aren't aligning, it's then that we need to make hard decisions." That does make a lot of sense, but again, you have to wonder, why be in a relationship like that in the first place and why go public with it? Meri basically admitted that she and Amos didn't have the same values. They didn't want the same things for their future and they didn't really know how to communicate with each other. That just doesn't sound like a good relationship at all. I'm sure they really cared about each other, but at the same time, after reading her statement, I'm not at all shocked that they didn't work out. Meri also said that she did look behind Amos's past. She said that everyone had a past and there was more to him than that, but despite that, she knew they wouldn't work long term. Meri said that she cared about the past 4 months that she spent with Amos and she apparently learned a lot. She now knows what's important to her in a relationship and she's confident in herself right now, even though she's single again. She said that when the time is right, she will start dating again, but for the time being, she's going to focus on herself and her own personal growth. Meri said that she's going to prioritize her own well-being and personal evolution, which is great to hear. Maybe this is exactly what she needed. It's interesting to hear her say that through this process, she learned what she wants from a relationship. Maybe she'll have more luck finding love in the future. I know we would all love to see her find someone who makes her happy, but in the meantime, what do you guys think about all this? Why has Meri been so unlucky in love? Is she doing something wrong, or is it that she hasn't met the right person for her yet? Let me know in the comments below.